Really, you needed a drone here. Even a Mavic Mini 2 and extra batteries would give so much more intel and weighs nothing. Plus, you were already carrying around an iPad. So it's no secret, a lot of the missions that I did in Ukraine were recons, and I think a lot of people have valid questions about why not just use a drone. So I've got 3 reasons today why we don't just use a drone in certain situations. So the first reason is budget. Unlike the popular opinion that there's just a rampant amount of drones and money coming into Ukraine, while I was there, and maybe it changed, but the only drone that our Special Forces group had was the one that one of the members had brought from his home country. And unlike all the Russian bot comments I see on my YouTube talking about American boots on the ground and how these are American mercenaries, no, that is completely false. To my estimations, there's only probably a couple thousand Americans that ever went to Ukraine, and only a handful of them stayed any meaningful amount of time or even went to the front. If this was America, we could have a couple drones for each squad probably, but that just isn't the case in Ukraine. My first mission in Ukraine, you guys can see it, it was without a helmet. You think that the US military, I was in the US military, you think that they would allow us to go onto the battlefield without a helmet? I think not. The second reason for not using drones is RF jammers, which is radio frequency jammers. And look, I'm not a tech dude. I don't know much about hacking or software, any of that stuff. So I don't know what's being used or how to hack into the drone to make it unable to be jammed. But the Russians have jammed their drones so many times. I've been on many different drone type missions, and while some of them have been incredibly useful for intel, the main positions we needed to recon were unreachable by drone because of the jammers. There were multiple times where my unit would send in a drone over to an area and it just gets jammed and goes down. And on 2 of those occasions, my team actually had to make a river crossing. You can see Ryan McBeth's recent video on river crossings to go and see why that's such a terrible thing. It's the most dangerous form of movement for any infantry or any military to go. And anyway, our group had to do that 2 times. Go into Russian territory, sneak in there, go a kilometer, even further, and pick up the drone that we had lost to the jammers. So those jammers are everywhere, they're effective, and although you can use other types of drones to go and possibly or maybe hack into it so it can go through, it's not as simple as just buying a DJI and just going to the battlefield and killing everybody. I mean, you can see those videos and they exist, but to get into some of those locations, it is incredibly difficult. You're just going to have to take my word for it. And the third and final reason that I'm going to give is a rather simple one that I was taught before quadcopter drones saw widespread use. In the Marine Corps infantry, it's often stated that no matter what weapon or machine you can send in, sometimes and oftentimes, the only sure way of killing that target is to have a Marine with a rifle storm through that door. If there's anything I learned in Shengal, where I lived in caves and successfully evaded surveillance and bombings from the state-of-the-art Bayraktar and Akinci drones, is that no matter what technology you utilize, you will never be able to fully know the situation on the ground. Sometimes you just need to put a recon team in there to not just observe with their vision, but utilize the entirety of SILS, stop, look, listen, smell, as well as speak. You guys probably saw on the GoPro video, we went into that house and we had to talk to the civilian, and he gave us invaluable information, which is that there's no Russians here. I didn't see any. So, I mean, that's something that a drone just can't do. They can't talk. There's so much more that a human can do that a robot just can't. We don't need a battery, and when it comes to recon, it's much more than just flying over real quick. It's understanding when and where the Russians come from, knowing what activity is at nighttime, which many of these drones, especially the DJIs, don't have thermal capabilities. And at the end of the day, the soldier's job is inherently risky. We sign up for the mission, and our lives are very much balanced with the money as well. They don't give everyone red dots and the best body armor. I mean, when I went on those missions, we had suppressors that were given to us, donated, but we had AK-74s. A lot of people no helmets. A lot of people didn't have body armor. They had to be, gathered around from their friends. It was a very difficult situation. An infantryman's life is not as precious as you might think. They don't give everyone red dots and the best body armor. There's sacrifices that are made. And honestly, if I had to make the decision between a DJI drone or a nice set of body armor and mag pouches and a red dot for the same price, I take the second. So I hope you guys learned something in this video. This question is obviously something that's been on your mind for a while. I've seen this in a lot of my recon videos that I posted. I'm not saying that it's a terrible idea. I think that drones are incredibly beneficial. We use them countless times on missions, which were very successful. But other times you just need somebody to go in there. You need someone. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. Peace.